Dentsu has always taken a people-based approach, and we don't look at any one tactic alone, but it's really about how does your omni-channel strategy and your audiences on those different channels going to work hardest for your advertising dollars. So whether it's linear TV, if it's connected TV, digital video, or social, it's really about starting with where are your people consuming content. And then from there, we're going to identify the best ways to measure how those audiences are watching that content and the effectiveness of reaching them on said platform. So it's really about an omni-channel strategy and not looking at any one platform in a silo. And the truth is every client can make sense for advanced linear because we know ratings fragmentation is continuing to happen, but we know that TV works. So that doesn't mean that we should just stop buying TV or only move to an addressable audience or a people base. It's really how does it complement your strategy? So being able to go after audiences that are actual category buyers as opposed to 18 to 49 or 25 to 54, it's really about taking your linear audiences and really understanding what day parts, programs, and networks are going to work the hardest for you against your core audiences. So it's really about taking those QSRs who think that anybody 2+ with a mouth is their audience and really convert that to who are category buyers and being able to buy against those strategic audiences, which are still going to have a lot of impressions that will go against all people, but make sure we're at least indexing against the highest concentrations to your strategic audiences. We always want to make sure we're working at the highest level of data fidelity, and whether that's taking our clients' first-party data and extending it and doing lookalike audience with our M1 data, which is over 220 million people identified across the US. The goal is ultimately to make sure we're always utilizing our audiences and our data to find where our consumers are watching content. And don't get me wrong, it's a lot more difficult in the linear TV space to match to. You don't have as many identifiers as you do in digital, whether it's a device ID. So being able to take our audiences, make sure that it's scaled enough to be able to activate within linear so we can do the proper indexing to ultimately measure against the effectiveness of reaching our audiences in a national linear TV stream. When we think about how we're going to identify which tactics to use, which partners to use, it really comes back down to who are your audiences and what is the value of waste, or quote unquote, what is known as waste in linear TV. If you're a client that has a very niche audiences and those are the only people that are going to be most likely purchasing your products, addressable television might make a lot of sense for you to activate with. So being able to go and do a one-to-one buy within a linear TV space when reaching your audiences is going to be a really strong tactic for you. However, if you're a client that believes that waste is a good thing, which there's a lot of clients in a lot of categories that waste is a good thing, then we're going to be able to take those strategic audiences and run them through index-based buying. So maybe that's running through Xandr and Fest, which is formerly Clipped, being able to identify the networks, day parts, and time periods that make sense for your audiences and buying a schedule that's concentrated to where audiences are consuming the right day parts and programs. We have to make sure that we're holding all measurement accountable. We want to make everything as like for like as possible, but the big thing is not letting perfection get in the way of something that's really good. So being able to utilize the platforms that are out there today, knowing that, yes, there are going to be some holes in terms of true measurement across the entire landscape, but ultimately making sure that we're always testing and learning and pushing the industry for greater measurement across the board. And the truth of the matter is, consumers dictate how our strategy should be moving forward. Where consumers are watching content, how they're watching content is ultimately how we have to make sure as advertisers, we are being as agile as possible to following the eyeballs as they consume content, whether that's on connected devices or if that's really being more cord shavers or cord cutters. But ultimately, we have to find our audiences, and advanced TV gives us the ability to do that, but just ensuring that we're always pushing the boundaries to ensure that we are still always testing and learning. And every client is on their own roadmap for innovation. So where you are today, whether addressable is new to you or something you've been doing, every client has their own roadmap. And it's going to be important that we identify where you are in your journey, client X versus Y and Z, to ensure that you are pushing your advertising strategy forward to find your audiences.